Imagine waking up tomorrow. No phone, no electricity, no clock, no internet, no car, no supermarket, no Netflix. What would you even do all day? Would you be bored? Or would every single hour be packed with work? The surprising answer is both. For almost all of human history, people lived completely differently than we do today. Their daily routines weren't built around meetings, emails, or scrolling through social media. Instead, every day was a battle against time, whether hunger and nature itself. So what actually filled an entire day before modern life existed? Let's find out. Most people imagine ancient humans constantly hunting mammoths or fighting wild animals. Reality was much less dramatic, and somehow even more exhausting. The average person woke up with the sunrise, not because they wanted to, because daylight was valuable. Once the sun disappeared, useful work became much harder. Every minute of sunlight mattered. There was no alarm clock. Roosters, birds, and natural light became the schedule. If you slept late, you lost precious hours. The first job of the day, fire, keeping a fire alive, was one of the most important responsibilities in the household. Starting a fire from scratch wasn't impossible, but it could take a very long time. So families carefully protected hot coals overnight. The morning often began by feeding the fire with dry wood. Without fire, there was no warm breakfast, no boiled water, no heat, no light after sunset. One tiny flame supported almost every part of life. Then came water. Today we turn a handle. Water appears instantly. Thousands of years ago, someone had to fetch it, sometimes several times every day. Rivers, streams, springs, wells, every bucket was heavy. Every trip cost time. A large family could need dozens of gallons every day, just for drinking, cooking, and cleaning. Water wasn't simply available. It was daily labor. Food came next, but breakfast wasn't cereal or toast. It depended entirely on where and when you lived. Some people ate bread with cheese. Others had porridge. Hunters might eat leftover meat. Many families simply ate whatever remained from yesterday. There were no refrigerators. Food spoiled quickly. Nothing could be wasted. Every bite mattered. And then, the real work began. Modern jobs usually involve sitting. Ancient jobs involved moving. Almost constantly, farmers spent hours planting seeds, pulling weeds, repairing fences, feeding animals, carrying tools, digging soil. Harvest season was especially intense. People often worked from sunrise until sunset. Missing the harvest could mean starvation during winter. There were no weekends. Nature didn't care if you were tired. But what if you weren't a farmer? Maybe you were a blacksmith. Every day meant standing beside a roaring furnace. Hammer after hammer, spark after spark, creating nails, knives, horseshoes, tools. Without blacksmiths, entire villages stopped functioning. Carpenters built homes. Potters made cooking bowls. Weavers turned wool into clothing. Millers ground grain into flour. Every occupation solved a problem modern factories now solve automatically. Everything was handmade. Everything took time. Here's something surprising. People spent enormous amounts of time just making clothes. Imagine your shirt. You probably bought it in minutes. Thousands of years ago, making one shirt could take weeks. First, raise sheep or grow flax. Then collect the fibers. Spin thread. Weave fabric. Cut it. Sew it. Repair it whenever it ripped. Clothing wasn't fashion. It was survival. Even children had jobs. Modern childhood is mostly school and play. For most of history, children worked. Not because parents were cruel, because families needed everyone's help. Young children collected sticks, scared birds away from crops, fetched water, watched younger siblings. As they grew older, their responsibilities grew too. By the teenage years, many already knew the skills that would support them for life. You might think people had no free time. Actually, they did, just less than we imagine. During breaks, neighbors talked. Children played simple games. People sang songs while working. Stories spread from one generation to another. Without television, storytelling became entertainment. A skilled storyteller could keep an entire village listening for hours. Every tale carried lessons, history, or warnings. And here's where life gets interesting. People knew their neighbors extremely well. There wasn't much privacy. Villages were small. Everyone depended on everyone else. Need help building a roof? Neighbors came. Need help harvesting before rain? The whole community joined. Survival was often a team effort. Being disliked wasn't just embarrassing. It could become dangerous. Around midday, work paused briefly. Lunch was usually simple. Bread, soup, cheese, vegetables, maybe meat if available. Nothing fancy. Calories were fuel. People weren't counting protein. They were simply trying to stay strong enough to keep working. Then, back to work again. Repairing tools, collecting firewood, gathering herbs, fishing, hunting, making baskets, fixing roofs, cleaning animal shelters. There was always another task waiting. Life rarely stood still. Now here's something modern people often forget. Shopping barely existed. If something broke, you repaired it. If you needed something, you made it. Throwing things away wasn't normal. A wooden spoon might last years. Shoes were repaired again and again. Clothing received patch after patch. People became incredibly skilled at fixing almost everything they owned. As the afternoon faded, another important job began. Preparing for tomorrow. Firewood had to be collected. Animals secured. Food preserved. Tools cleaned. Seed stored. Nothing could simply wait until morning. One forgotten task could create a huge problem the next day. Then, the sun started disappearing. Without electric lights, darkness changed everything. Homes became much quieter. Candles were expensive. Oil lamps weren't always available. Most families stayed close to the fire. They talked, repaired clothing, played music, told stories, or simply rested. Night wasn't for productivity. It was for recovering. But here's something fascinating. Many historians believe people didn't always sleep the way we do today. Some evidence suggests that many communities practice something called segmented sleep. They slept for several hours, woke up in the middle of the night, spent an hour or two talking, praying, or quietly working, then returned to sleep before sunrise. It sounds strange today, but it may have been completely normal before artificial lighting. Of course, life wasn't peaceful every day. Storms destroyed crops. Diseases spread. Harvests failed. Wild animals threatened livestock. Winters became deadly. One bad season could change everything. People constantly lived with uncertainty. Yet somehow, communities survived generation after generation. Ironically, many modern inventions eliminated thousands of tiny daily tasks. Washing machines, running water, electric ovens, cars, vacuum cleaners, refrigerators, the internet. Each one saves minutes or hours. Together, they transformed human life. We often think technology simply gave us new things to do. In reality, it also removed countless old jobs we no longer notice. So, were ancient people happier? That's a difficult question. They had fewer possessions, harder lives, shorter life expectancies, but they also spent more time outdoors, worked with family, knew practical skills, lived closer to their communities. Modern life solved many problems, but it also created new ones. Maybe neither life was truly easier, just different. The next time your Wi-Fi stops working, or your phone battery dies, remember this. For thousands of years, human beings filled every day without any of those things. They built civilizations, raised families, created art, invented tools, explored oceans, and changed the world, one sunrise at a time. If you enjoyed discovering how people really lived before modern life, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more fascinating history and science, and tell us in the comments, which part of ancient daily life do you think would be the hardest to live without today? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.